Eric, hi. Welcome to Mouse Heaven. Come on in. This here is the hallway with all of its never-ending, never-changing Christmas decorations, kitty litter, groceries, and garbage is Mouse Purgatory. And this is the basement. We don't talk about that. These things on the wall were all by Charles Ponstingle. Every Christmas he made one for Eunice of a movie star. Okay, yeah, oh well. Here's all the seven dwarfs. There's some pretty amazing ones there. And the dwarf's cottage. And the umbrellas. And, oh my goodness, and my wife's artificial plants over here hiding behind them. There's the wicked witch. Anyway, yeah, go ahead and look around. That's actually Elsie, the boarding cow. Elsie, yeah. These were from a TV commercial. And what is this doing here? This is Gus White's Punch and Judy. This is the ticket booth. And this is the curtain. You know, he wasn't what you would call a folk artist. He really was a very skilled, practiced, real-life artist. And he's done an amazing portrait of himself. There's old Coco up there. Hi, Coke. Oh. Hi, Cokie.
Everywhere you look, there's another amazing piece of art. Hard to see it all without being overwhelmed and just passing by something great.
Well, that is true. What amazes me is that every one of these objects has got a story. Every one was an involvement, every one was an event, every one was something that I had to save for because I couldn't afford, or had to restore, or had to send for, or wait for, or bid for, and trade for, absolutely. And all this multitude of objects all add up to a way of visualizing the days of my life. Most people have no evidence of how long they lived except their invisible memory. But I can look at these things and remember my entire life, all the best times. This is one that nobody's seen.
Be all about cubes, huh?
Yeah. It's one of his last carvings.
Still has the bright color.
Oh, yeah.
Still has its color palette. Yeah. Should we go to the dining room?
Okay. Oh, you want to go out there yet? Okay. Come on. I'll open the door for you. Well, actually, I'm going to open it this way so you can get a picture of the poster. This is the dining room slash closet slash refrigerator.
This time of the year. So you designed this after a Wendy's?
Burger King, to be specific. Definitely Burger King. This is my favorite object out here, no doubt about it. I see it needs a little bit of, needs a little touch up here on the flag.
These are the brownies, is it?
Yes. This object was slightly manufactured in that each one of those brownies was done with a slip casting, and then they had to all be applied one at a time by hand. But the way
Get the position just right, I would guess.
yeah, it's plain skill, but it's not one of a kind. Obviously, it would have been manufactured to some degree. Of course, it's the only one I know of, but I think it's probably the most amazing brownie thing ever. Oh, you're looking at that?
This is your art, is that correct?
That was a painting I did when I was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
And it's only here because my mother kept it. And when she passed away, Eunice went and got her stuff in Florida and brought it back here. I can't say that I like looking at it. But you know, I was all very Disney, and UPA cartoons were popular then. And there was a wonderful cartoon you must know, The Telltale Heart.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you would love it. And especially for its era, very, very stylish.
Cool.
So that influenced me when I was doing that painting.
And these are faucet paintings?
They are, yes. They're part of a series that he intended to be 50 paintings, all based on the same image.
Now these, is this the same series of paintings that you have in the living room?
Yes, it is.
And I guess one that we just saw in the hallway there.
Yep.
Yeah. Now these, the smaller versions of those?
No, these are drawn. Oh, yes, they are, yes.
Okay.
Those dolls were originally designed for Walt Disney to get, and sold only to him to give to dignitaries that were visiting the studio.
Wow. And then you said an Italian company.
The Italian company that made them,
Created these.
well, no, they created these.
Okay.
These are the originals, and they made up from the patterns, from the original patterns, they made me these. And I asked them if they could make big ones. They said, no, the heads would be too big, they would fall over. And it's a long story, but the whole thing fell apart. But lo and behold, years later, they had made the big ones, and they ended up turning up in New Jersey.
At all.
But it was simply because of conversing with me that these came into being.
Oh, wow. And then you didn't even get one directly from them, you got it.
I got it years later, yeah.
Is that right?
No, at of all places, a Christmas decoration store in New Jersey.
Wow.
They had two sets. I bought them both.
Oh, these guys are great on top.
They're quite amazing. They're English, and they're so off.
Yeah, the colors are
The
really...
colors are crazy, but that's what makes them so wonderful.
Every inch of this place
Those are
is-
Louis Biederman. This is one of a kind, the only known example of that calendar. And Coco the Clown was by my friend John Fawcett.
Oh, really?
It's
Oh,
all-
talented guy.
Yeah, it's all made up. The only thing he actually carved was the head. The rest is all made up of found parts from the lumber yard, found wood fittings.
Cool. I love this case too.
This is a doll that Eunice and I got in Paris. And of course, this Police Chanel I got in Paris. It cost me $30 and it took me 3 months to pay for it.
Oh, wow. Should we go in there?
Yeah, you don't intend to stop that tape at all. You're going to keep a continuous
Pretty
running.
good at it, maybe.
Okay, good. Oh, go ahead. Go after you, Eric. Go on in.
Should we do the left or the right first?
Just have a look around.
Peterman, is that right?
These are Biedermann. These are what the things in the hall, how large they were originally. You do them way, way oversized. Pen and ink. The penmanship is just amazing.
Here?
Yeah, well, you know, I like the way you're walking around and doing this. Why don't you just continue doing that? And seems to be working really well. And I don't need to say something. This can be music. The lighting's not too good over there. This bottom case is one that no one ever notices, but it's basically projection devices. It's every kind of means of showing movies at home, as they existed in the 1930s anyway.
Wow. Are these duplicates of some of the stuff that you have upstairs? That you
No, not really, no. These are all one of a kind. Crazy kind of projectors, things that are just insane the way they operate. Yeah, well, there's, you might as well peek in that corner because that's something you can only see from here.
Brownie?
My little brownie corner.
This is also Sunny.
That's Sonny, that's one of Sonny's sculptures, yes. Well, here's something you really should get a photograph of. These outer spacemen.
Oh, yeah.
My friend Gary made this for me for a birthday present. And I can't tell you, can't begin to explain how absolutely unique this is. They're all the models that the Four Horsemen did of the outer spacemen, which were on like 20 different molds. And Gary had them all cast just to get 2 copies, one for him and one for me, in this, what he calls carbon color, and all transparent helmets.
Now this is the new line, you say?
Yes, these are the resculpted ones, the ones that I've been involved with for years now.
This is the Bill Baird puppet?
That's Bill Baird. This puppet was created for a performance of the Carnival of Animals with Leonard Bernstein at Lincoln Center.
it doesn't give justice to how big the room is and how much.
Well, actually, it looks pretty good to me, what you're doing.
Now this is both your art and
Well, the very top are 3 drawings of mine that used to be in Eunice's room. And she said to me, get those naked ladies out of here. And so I did, and I went with them. I don't think I've been in her room 10 minutes since they were removed. A movie director visited here all the way from Italy. Came to Beacon just to photograph that one case.
of Charlie Chaplin?
This one case, yeah, he set up and took a pan shot of it. He was doing a movie based on Charlie Chaplin's work as a composer. People don't realize that he composed all of the music for his films.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, his most famous thing is called Smile. I don't know if you're familiar with that song.
No.
Dee 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 dee. I can't sing, but you get the idea. Where's Eunice? She could sing it for you. Amazing images, aren't they? Oh, the box in there. This box for the
Papa?
no, the box there behind the walking Mickey figure. That's the art. That's the only. Well, there's another one turned up since then, but this for many years was the only known example of that. And that's the art that John based all of his paintings on.
Oh, right.
The cover of that box. It's hard to see because I've got that thing in front of it.
You're talking about John Fawcett's painting.
Yes. I'd like to point out to you my favorite spot in the entire world, which is right in the corner of this couch. And I'd like to invite you to sit there and see what it is that I see just about every leisure moment of my life. I just love the perspective from this corner. It's my little corner of the world.
Well, I'm honored.
Okay, well, relax and look around. I'll sit down here. You can see a lot from that corner, no doubt about it. You can see enough.
It's the one spot it seems far enough away that you can get a perspective of the...
You can really, yeah, you can really see as much as you can see from one point of view. That's the point of view. And from there, you know, without ever leaving your seat, you can fly up and hover at each of these cases, which I often do. Oh boy, I see a light bulb's burn out.
You can see the flaws from the seat too, apparently.
Oh my God, I have to do something about that. Making me nuts.
Yeah, good if you're a Punch and Judy too. Yeah, you can see everything almost.
Yeah, and survey the I never tire sitting there, never. This is my little coffee table with my little clutch of photographs. Lovely paperweight of Punch a beautiful sculpture of Buster Brown. It's bronze, it's amazing. And then I have a few of those modern Disney figurines, the few that I really liked best. And this amazing weather vane of Popeye and Major Hoople right in the middle of the table.
It's a weather vane?
Yeah, it's a weather vane. And it shows it.
It's not for outdoors, right?
Oh, it has a history. It's definitely spent time outdoors and made probably easily 60 years ago.
Wow, it didn't seem like you were signed up to fall apart.
I saw this at a Brimfield flea market and looked at it all day one Friday. I kept coming back, and it was horrendously expensive. And I just couldn't see paying the money for it, although I desperately wanted it. I went back at 5 o'clock and bloody hell, it was gone. And there's nothing, if you're ever in doubt whether you want something, just miss it, and then you make up your mind instantly. You desperately wanted it. So I said to the dealer, "Oh, I'm so sorry I missed that." He says, "Oh, you didn't miss it. I just packed it up." I said, "I'll take it." I never regretted it. It still sits there to this day.
Blue book?
These are blue ribbon books, yeah, pop-ups. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're really doing overkill on this. We might as well sweep along this way and get this wonderful carousel figure of Charlie Chaplin. I mean, that's incredible.
Now, he's not from the same carousel as the Popeye here.
Yeah, he very well might be. Yeah, I think it's by the same carver. They come from Belgium. Now, the other figures here are mostly from France, I believe.
Now, how many pieces do you have? You have Popeye, Charlie. Upstairs you have Olive Oil.
Yeah, and another Popeye here. And these two figures here are from a French carousel. It was the pinnacle of the carousel.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They weren't meant to be ridden. They were just meant to decorate the somehow or other they worked in. And of course, here's my incredible ventriloquist dolls, which are just about my favorite thing. They've spent a long time in that trunk. That's why they're in such good condition. Mr. Peanut is the very one that was on the birdwalk at Atlantic City.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a little paper ribbon around his tummy there that says Atlantic City Planter's Peanut Shop. Standing Popeye from a theater marquee. And it's really so decisively painted with kind of abstract calligraphy. Only a professional sign painter could whip those lines out with such finesse. Behind there is a Spanish Popeye poster. It's called Spaghetti. Felix Chevrolet. Yeah, they from Los Angeles. They still feature Felix today. It's still there.
School board Mickey?
It's a blackboard. It's English.
Felix? This looks like Fawcett maybe, no?
No, no, no. This was made by an incredible guy, amazing person.
Is this an original or is this one, I know you had recast some or you had,
No, no, that's original.
okay.
The ones that I recast are up there, the few in the middle of the shelf. The rest are all original. Might as well go up to this tall case. And just because it's down on the bottom doesn't mean it's lesser. It's just that just don't have enough space to put everybody in as prominent position as it ought to be. The knockout piece there is that giant celluloid in the middle. My God, that's just utterly awesome.
Is that a close second for a favorite?
Oh,
Or I guess that would be the skating.
yeah, the skating, you're right. The skating's gonna be one of my favorites, no doubt about it. Eric, nobody can get that view but you. The only person I know could reach that high. That's a bliss target of Little Nemo. That is ancient. That would be from, about 1905, I would guess. And this is a piece of carpet that was in a movie theater, RKO Theater in Manhattan, I believe.
Cool.
Had to be an incredible piece of carpet. I'm just glad to have a fragment of it.
Was there the option to get more or was it just sold?
No, but Bernie has a piece too from the same rug, I believe.
Oh, really? Does he have the same graphic?
Yeah, yes.
Is this the photo that's the most popular on your website? The kids in the...
No, the most popular photo on my website is the photograph of the makeup set.
Oh, yeah, the German.
But this photo is pretty popular too. This photo's escaped me. It's been swiped so many times that it's no longer associated with my website. People have a way of taking these photos and putting their own names on them. But yes, it did come from here, and the actual original photos over in the showcase buried among some discs. The Fantasia Punch-Out book is one of the few things I had as a kid that I still love today. It wasn't the same set, but it was identical to that. You could have the whole movie for 10 cents. I recently took that completely apart and fixed the lights. Oh, what a horrible job it was. I had to disassemble the whole thing. It took me 2 weeks.
Another way to enjoy the collection. in a way.
In a way, yeah, that's true.
You would not remember something and then rediscover that you had it.
Boy, when I forget something, I suddenly get this crazy feeling of why the hell I don't deserve to have it. Seriously,
I see what you're saying. Yeah. But you have so much, it's hard to keep.
well, that's why I have it displayed, because if I'm going to pack it away, then I really have no right having it. It needs to be seen.
I love the background on this.
Well, there is my original mouse. That's the one that started it all, right there in the center.
Yeah.
That's the cast iron bank. The cast iron bank that, you know, a moment in one's life that forms their entire destiny. Boy.
Was that the first?
That was the first mouse I acquired as a, I won't say adult, because I don't think I've ever exactly attained that status. But on my never-ending quest for adulthood, that was the first mouse I acquired. And it might be the first mouse I ever acquired, because as a kid I didn't give a crap about Mickey Mouse. He wasn't that special to me. I never saw a mouse like that till I was 20 years old.
And saw a different take.
Yeah, that was the mouse that, you know, now it's crazy. I'm surrounded by 1,000 classic Mickeys. But that was like the first one that I ever really saw that caught my eye.
This is Crazy Cat?
That's Felix.
This one's good?
Yep, this is the whole Felix thing.
I almost thought that was another piece of the carpet there. No.
Almost. It was actually manufactured by the same company, I believe.
Yeah, similar color almost.
A different kind of weave, but they also made this in a plush version.
Now this is the Wizard of Oz waddle book?
Yep. The next shelf up is all Bonzo. You know, Bonzo predated Mickey Mouse.
You think heavily influenced design?
I don't think there was any influence, no, because Bonzo was definitely an English phenomenon mostly. There were a few American cartoons, but he was never like that popular here, but he was huge in England.
Now, just because they're in the same case together doesn't exactly mean that they're all a similar company or similar.
No, they're just
Felt right, I think.
they're just where they wanted to be. The nice thing about, one of the fun things about doing this was that the stuff all decided where it wanted to be, so I didn't have to like think it out. It was just, I knew instantly. You know, when mouse collecting began, the objects that one would most often find at flea markets were those bisque figurines. Yeah, in the middle there. And I know my friend Bernie Shine was very, very into it. He memorized all the numbers. Each one had a little number on the back, and how to display them, And then you reach a point where you get so many, they're so repetitious but you don't know how to display them. So suddenly these individual things, each one being a treasure and each one being an exciting find, as you discovered exactly how many were made, how many variations there were, and a lot of correspondence with other collectors that each time someone found a new one, the horizons widened. And I didn't know what to deal with them, so suddenly all these small objects turned into one giant pyramid. And one great big mountain of bisque. And each one of these individual treasures just became a building block in the pyramid.
Amazing that they're all the same shape, or not the same shape, same size in a lot of ways. It wasn't because it wasn't all the same company, right?
No, probably all the same company. They're all made in Japan.
Oh, really?
And clearly, many of them were sculpted by the same sculptor. Clearly. The king of all of them, of course, is on the top, the 9-inch Mickey on the top of the pyramid. Oh, yeah. They used to package them in vending machines with a little package of candy attached to them.
Oh, yeah?
The three pigs there still have their original candy. See, right there, yeah.
So do they all have like a little pouch on the back?
Well, that wasn't the only way they were sold, but often they were sold like that.
Some just tied up.
Of course, it would have been 10 cents each if the price is like that. That wind-up toy in the middle is quite wonderful, quite wonderful. Well, I never came across a black cat that didn't make me feel excited. That paint box was taken in a totality from our apartment in New York. We just moved it 100% right up here to the country.
Here?
No, over there with all the small objects in it. Over right, farther to your left. There. Those are mostly things I found in France. That little image there in the back, that cut-out photograph, that was little Melvin. It was very popular back in the 1940s to get your child's photograph laminated to wood, hand-tinted and cut out. And then that little bisque doll was discovered in a flea market. Eunice says, God, that looks like you. And so I dressed it up like the photograph and gave it to her for Christmas one year. And oh, way in the corner is one of the poodles we made. This one had managed to not show the ravages of time like the one upstairs that was in Florida for many years. Many treasures there, and each one means something. Well, this will freak you out, actually. Go back. You have to see this. There, do you see the bride and groom in the box on the wall? Little celluloid bride and groom. A box by 2 inches by 2 by 2 with a little celluloid Kewpie bride and groom. Okay, to the left of that is a tiny, 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 tiny box, about 1/8 by 1/4 of an inch. Those are 2 fleas getting married. And they come from Mexico.
Where did you find them? In Paris?
I think I got them in New York City.
Was this box upstairs?
No, never, no.
Did you have fleas upstairs too?
The real ones upstairs. You know, they're very chubby and user-friendly. That Mickey is probably the only new Mickey I have in my collection.
Is he part of that collection there? Part of that group?
No, he's not. He's a 1940s doll, maybe 1939, 1940, thereabouts. But it had when I first started collecting Mickey, he was not a member of the pie-eyed group, but I sort of made room for him in my collection. When David Smith visited me in Manhattan, David Smith being the Disney archivist, who I was dumping on in the last video, after he said, "Is this all there is?" he ran over and grabbed that doll, which was accessible at the time. Yeah, that chubby one with the eyeballs. And he announced, he didn't ask, he announced, "This is the first Mickey doll." It was at that point I knew that he didn't have the slightest clue what he was doing.
Maybe the first Mickey doll this month.
These guys are great down here too. But this stuff on the bottom shelves don't really get much attention.
No, they don't. Well, you know, none of this gets much attention. People that come here, they just see it as one great mass. I'm probably the only one that ever actually looks at it all.
Hard. It's hard to take it all in without being overwhelmed and your mind is shutting off.
Well, Eric, there's only one way to take it all in, and that's to live here. And even then, it tends to become wallpaper. But you know, even wallpaper, there comes a time when you'll stop and study the pattern that you've paid no attention to for years. down. That long thing there would be the 1930s equivalent of color forms.
Where are we at?
Right down above the light switches.
Oh, yeah,
Then there's a box. The box I really kind of like with the Jeeps. The Jeep's a fabulous character because, like Mickey Mouse, he's all pure abstraction. And on the back there is the original comic strip that introduced him. Okay, we're going to go to the hall.
yeah.
Oh, we have the upstairs to do. Okay. For 45 years, I heated the house with this for every winter. 5 tons of coal I burn in it. Yep. You get 5 tons delivered every fall.
Keep it in the basement.
Yep. Created a coal bin down there. Still there. My goodness, these have gotten dusty. They're in bad need of a dusting. There was a time when I would come along with an airbrush and blow air at all of them. When Eunice wasn't here. And then vacuum up the floor.
Of time you spent on these things.
Incalculable.
You talk about having a way of gauging how much time you've been alive.
Absolutely.
And again, the ones on the bottom don't really get much.
No, they don't. Don't get much. They don't get any. Just looking at this stuff is an obligation that I'm lax in fulfilling. I'm very glad you're here looking at it all. And so is the stuff.
You don't really see everything until you take
No,
even just a small amount of time that we're spending on each thing. It's
I
like,
know.
I feel like the first time I've seen a lot of this.
oh, I know it is.
Especially from these angles. I've never, you almost have to be lying on the floor.
Yeah. That's probably the last view I'll get of it. I'll be crawling along looking at it one day.
God, I hope not. Yeah, the ones, it's like everything that's not, 2 feet above your eyes and 2 feet below your
That's
eyes.
right.
Don't get any attention.
That's, of course, is the circus train.
Snow White is from your childhood, is that right?
No, the
No?
ones from my childhood are upstairs.
Okay.
These are Italian. Here's this fabulous Wizard of Oz cutout book.
Oh,
The
wow.
Wizard of Oz toy book.
I thought this was your, that stuff you and Eunice had put together.
No, this was done by John R. Neal, the illustrator of most of the Oz books. Very, very rare book. There's only like 4 of them known.
Wow.
And they were strung together with a lace. There's holes in the lace held them together, so unlacing it and framing it didn't damage anything.
A lot of Sendak stuff I've never seen, stuff that probably nobody's ever seen. What were these prints for?
Those were various prints, but we've got masses of them,
Really?
all of which are signed. I have several more put away in drawers.
Oh, wow. Is this a sketch from a cartoon?
It's actually some kind of greeting card. It's not original art.
Oh,
Believe it or not, that Mickey Mouse Magic Glow Funhouse is the original art for
This is the original art?
That's the original
Oh,
art.
wow.
Unfortunately, even hanging here in this dark hall, it's faded outrageously.
what did you use to make that?
I used bottled watercolors,
Okay.
and they simply have disappeared over the years.
This is the way to see the collection to go through and just.
Oh yeah.
One-
It forces you to look. This is the very one my uncle gave me, I believe, when I was 5 years old. Say Melvin Birnkrant. That used to hang in the hall. Every time I went down the hall, I would study that thing.
That's great. Uncle Norman.
Yeah. It's an extraordinary poster. It actually, in French, says, "Do not hang this in daylight."
Really?
Yeah, it was amazingly intense color, but it wasn't made to withstand light.
Now these are the same dolls that.
These are Lars dolls.
Did you acquire all these at the same time that you got? that are over there?
It's actually a long story. These were actually sent to me from Italy. But believe it or not, these were put in the showcase. This showcase was from the Hamburger show in 1973 that's never been opened. They're still posed in there. They look like the day they were made. But it was actually 50 years ago. Collection of odds and ends, not all of which was placed there by yours truly.
Love this little.
Boy, that certainly got forgotten up there.
It's not paper, is it?
No, it's tin. And this is quite wonderful. These dolls are the Campbell's kids. And these little things are so like the night kitchen chefs. This Mr. Peanut, as a kid, I would see one of these in the windows at Times Square. It taps on the glass. I had this originally set up with a switch so it would tap, but it's no longer operating.
That's great. That's really cool.
It's one of the objects that burned itself into my memory from childhood, from Times Square, that, and the billboard that blew smoke rings. That too was extraordinary.
That's great. What's the story behind the McDonald's? It was really
That's Mayor. No, that's Big Mac, I guess.
Was that Mayor McCheese?
No, I don't think it's Mayor McCheese. I think that's Big Mac. Why he looks like a policeman, I don't remember. But the characters were forbidden then. They lost a lawsuit. It seemed that they were too similar to Sid and Marty Krofft's puppets from a TV show with, I forget what it was called.
How did you get this particular?
Well, probably Brimfield. That I got from the Disney Studios, that poster. This one I got at auction. This is my favorite of all the Mickey posters. I just love that thing.
Nightmare?
Yeah.
It doesn't look too unhappy.
I traded away. I didn't have the money. It was auctioned. It was auctioned at Sotheby's. And no way I could afford to bid on it. I was desperate for a way to find it, to be able to bid in that auction. And I gave Colorforms all the foreign rights to the games I invented in exchange for them paying for 2 posters for me. So it was a gamble because Harry was an amazing guy. He was adventuresome. And we didn't know how much those posters were going to go for, but he was, whatever they went for, he was willing to give me. It could have been a lot. And as it was fairly a substantial sum of money. And in exchange, I traded away the rights to a royalty on all the games in Europe.
Do you regret that?
No. No, I don't. Because one's money and the other's this.
Yeah.
You know. Those are postcards of Little Nemo. They're not drawn by McKay, but they're based on his art. Well, you know, Eric, you've spent more time looking at this collection than anybody I know. And you're only still just seeing stuff.
For the first time, especially this is the...
Well, that's an amazing, amazing Biederman. That always hung here on the wall in the prime place. And then Charles made a carving of it, so his carving shoved it aside.
Do you suppose that original artwork is as big as the...
Oh, I'm absolutely certain it is. Yes, it would be. Probably bigger.
Detail of working like that, I guess.
And of course, there's several years missing.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
This is 28. Those are 26.
On that kind of paper, you know, anything could have happened.
And the art in the other year is probably 1930. That would be the year that they adopted Mickey Mouse.
So that's the downstairs.
Okay, turn her off, baby. I'm going to turn off some lights.
All right.
Okay, Eric, eventually every guest here, sooner or later, goes upstairs, so I'll let you go ahead. Sometimes they're too drunk to get up there, and so am I, but we're all sober today, so here we go. Everything I ever made was done on that desk.
Oh, wow.
Everything. It was created there, designed there, drawn there, built there, photographed there, videotaped there. This has sort of become my world up here.
You got the whole plant single.
Oh, many more. The best ones are up here. The very best ones are up here. That's one of his very best. That was a real breakthrough, that band concert. There's no swipe art that he could work from. He just constructed it from little bits and pieces of different figures. Have you ever seen the band concert? Well, Mickey's giving a band concert in the open air, and suddenly he plays William Tell Overture, and it whips up a tornado. And all the characters are swept up in the twister, and they just keep on playing. And that's what you're looking at there.
One above, I think I've seen this illustration.
Yes, we were looking at that last time. The band concert is extremely heavy because that tornado is one solid hunk of wood. And the title he originated, everything swept along in seeming disarray but perfect unison. These really represent Charles at the pinnacle of his powers. And of course, there's the incredible one over my desk. That's just pure insanity. Well, all of them, but, you know, but that one with 58 characters in it is just incredible.
Is this one your favorite?
You know, it is one of my favorites, but I have so many favorites, it's like ridiculous. There's not a one of them I would part with. These large Winchester signs are some of the last pieces of artwork McKay ever did. It was around 1924. They were, Winchester was a line of hardware stores.
Right there on the hardware wall.
Yeah, which also happened to make their own line of rifles, I gather. And they had these triptychs permanently installed in the window, and they would change the subject matter every month. So they're printed on two sides, and two of the series were by McKay, but on the other side of this one, which is an extraordinary one, is printed the Tunaville folks.
Do you ever switch them out? Or you
No. Nope, and nope, nope. There's nobody better than Windsor McKay.
This one doesn't get a lot of airtime either.
No, it doesn't.
That's gorgeous.
Nor does that strangely nightmarish piece of artwork up there on the top. It depicts Mickey having a dream about Christmas. That's a great one, the Mad Doctor, Mickey's Fire Brigade, another terrific one. Crazy cat. That's the 5-panel version. You know, in those days, that was all hand lettering.
This is the headquarters.
This is where I hang out.
The Brain Center.
Huh.
Some modern art and then your art.
Well, these are all recent outer spacemen. What's happened to them in the last 6 years. And this is probably what I have is maybe 60% of what he's produced. 40% is elsewhere. He had a friend who he also did carvings for all along. And this guy was not like me in that the guy's been selling them. There's a wonderful one. He turned that enormous ship steering wheel on a lathe. Can you imagine doing that?
I didn't think that came with it. I thought that was
No, he did not get it. He made it.
Just for that, just the frame that.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool. He really put a lot of thought into it. These aren't built there, are they?
No, I got them from Noel, but we have no idea who made them. Clearly the professional.
Betty Boop, this is the incense.
Yeah, yes.
I got some of those.
That's the incense.
And this is yours. The
Well,
lantern.
that's just something I put together at the old loft. That's my former lifetime when I was fascinated by such things. This is my humble collection of bad taste bears. Everyone agrees they represent a lapse in taste. For some inexplicable reason, those pails have become quite popular among a select group of collectors. That's a doll by Joseph Callis, his own character called Pete the Pup. It never manifests itself in any place but the doll. This is really, you know, you're really at the the least significant area of my collection, let's say.
This jacket is pretty good.
Well, the jacket is incredible, isn't it? Mickey and Popeye together. It was made, obviously,
Very abstract, Mickey and Popeye.
yeah, made in Japan, clearly. Souvenir of the war. Some amazing toys in that top shelf. That vehicle is extremely rare.
Wind up tent.
Yeah. And the bank behind it is the second version of the cast iron bank that's downstairs.
Same.
Same manufacturer has obviously been upgraded to try to please Disney because the first one didn't bear a Disney copyright on it. It's probably pirated. And they polished up some of the details and incised it with copyright Walt Disney. The Easter display on the bottom there is was actually made to go with that Donald doll. Yeah, it appears in trade publications all as a piece.
Another merry-go-round piece.
Yeah, quite elegant, isn't it? It's really beautifully styled.
Yeah.
Unlike some of those downstairs, I don't think this was one of a kind. I think this was possibly even carved on some kind of a machine.
Interesting.
But it's beautifully styled, much nicer than the Popeye.
Seems like it was the same, because you didn't repaint, did you?
No, this is all original.
Similar paint as the Popeye, but not exactly.
The Popeye I started stripping and I gave up on at one point and stopped when I had the pants half done.
These statues are around the collection downstairs and upstairs, right?
Which of those?
These guys, this guy, this guy.
Oh, Mutt and Jeff.
Mutt and Jeff.
Yeah, they're a little bit here and a little bit there.
You think you would have been part of the same as the olive oil?
Oh yeah, definitely off of French Carousel. And of course, the view from there downstairs is one that I frequently would check out to see what the cat was up to.
Masterpiece.
This is his masterpiece, no doubt about it. Of course, nobody's ever seen in these showcases here. These
Yeah,
along
I
the
don't think even we have.
along the top. I mean here. I mean all these little things.
Yeah, yeah. Elsie, that's right.
That's yes, that is Elsie. Elsie the Bordentown.
Got Mortimer down there?
Elmer and Beauregard.
Oh wow, look at these little, what would you, these are pins, some of them are pins and some are just,
Some are pinback buttons, little. Yeah. I actually got those porcelain figures when I was a kid. I must have been, I don't know, about 12 years old when I got those.
what are these guys? Clickers?
Little clickers, yeah.
Look at the colors of these guys. Fly swatter.
Pardon me?
You got a Popeye's fly swatter? They really marketed it.
Yes, they really, well, that was a hot item. That was a big hit.
Oh Lord. Now the bad jokes start. When we get tired, they
I thought that was a rather good one. We get tired. More carvings, and more.
This one you almost have to be inside the box to get the feel.
Yes, you do, yeah.
I think I can get that one up there.
You're doing pretty good.
These bottle tops.
Yeah,
Golden
One had to save them from the bottles and then send away for the game that goes with it. It's trifles like that that are, I guess, pretty scarce. Who saved things like that?
Oh, there's the cookies.
They're cookies.
How about these puppies here? Are there any
Just-
story behind that? Or?
They're just typical of the 30s. Various puppies. They're not anybody in particular, but they were the going style of my childhood.
Bill Baird?
Yep. Heathcliff, he was quite a star. He was a major star. He co-starred in many a Bill Baird production.
Anybody who ever worked on the films or the show ever try to get in contact with you and
No,
see any of this stuff?
no. That's all crazy cat stuff. Handkerchiefs. I love this thing here. Boy, this is dirty. They all came in a box, just these cutouts of Andy Gump. I mean, how would they survive? Just a miracle.
Fuck on with these doggies.
That's a popular subject. This is what happens to a music box that's in Florida for a number of years. It might still work.
You know, what's the story behind this?
This is one of the things we made is Boutique Fantastique. Poor little doggy, he's feeling too good. Come on, kiddo, you can do it. Come on, you're doing it. Good, good, good. Go, baby. It's playing that popular tune, Stacey Bone.
Oh, there's a whole collection back here.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you had more back here.
You've never
These are
seen these?
sand. I've seen them, but I didn't realize this is where you had them.
These are wind up.
Are they wind up? I thought they were sand.
Some are sand, some are wind up. This was our most popular production. Of course, it's not going to cooperate. God, they're as lackadaisical as I am. Oh, God, something's still moving around here.
It's really going.
Moving right along. I'm shutting these off. Sunny day up there, isn't it? A few autumn leaves still on the tree. This is where all my drawings ended up when Eunice threw me out of the living room. It was the only empty space in the house. I had no place else to put them. It looks like I just lie around in bed staring at them, which is true, I do.
More carvings.
More carvings. These are among the last ones he did. Many of these are, at any rate.
He doesn't carve anymore.
He does, but very, very slowly and with difficulty. And that's a beauty. That's the weenies he created.
Okay.
I sent him, when I was working on them, I sent him the first black and white drawings. That's all he ever saw of them. He never saw any of the other stuff. And years later, he carved that. Long after they died. Posthumous weenies. You could adjust that one carving if you would, Eric. That Oswald, yeah. The cat jumps up on these things. A little straighter still, a little more. That's good. That's a wonderful one. That is so Charles.
Oh wow, look at this guy. Huge. Is that the longest?
Yeah, yes it is. This one up here at the top is really awesome. Peace on Earth. It's incredible. It's one of his best carvings, I think, up there.
This one here?
Yes. And all those tiny mice are just incredible too. And the mouses. It's the whole history of Mickey Mouse all in one box. Very pretty one.
This one's great too. This is
That's his own invention.
yeah, I was gonna say this looks like don't even look like his.
No, he did it. That's what he would do if he wasn't doing comic characters.
particular character either.
No, but it was made by the it was made by the Harold Lloyd Toy Company, which really was run by Harold Lloyd. It was a riding toy. It would travel along the floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just a rocking horse?
No, it rocked but walked at the same time.
This might be one of my favorites.
That is a wonderful one, no doubt about it. That creature from Invasion Earth you're looking at now. It's one of the few things I did that I still enjoy looking at.
That's cool. Really cool. Would that drop down? Would the legs come off and drop down so you could...
Well, it all came apart so it could be put in a box, but it also walks.
Looks like it's got wheels underneath of his...
No, it doesn't really have wheels. It actually walks.
Cool. Oh, I see. It just rotates. Oh, wow. I didn't know it was animated.
No, it walks quite well.
Still?
Probably would, yeah. Probably need batteries.
This is a heck of a find right here.
Isn't that amazing? Pure insanity. Pure insanity. That lamp tracked me for years and years and years. It took it about 10 years to make its way here. It was offered to me from somebody in California, no, in Seattle, Washington, for a price that at the time was outrageous. And then it was offered to me again, along with the story that it was once sat in Walt Disney's office, which of course seemed extremely illogical to me, because I don't think he would have ever approved of such a piece of craziness.
Yeah.
And then years later, it turned out that Kenneth Anger owned it.
Oh, wow.
He had purchased it somewhere along the way. And when he needed money, he sold it to me for what he paid for it.
Wow. Not the one that you kept seeing.
It was the very same one. There couldn't be two like it. Whenever Kenneth needed money, he would sell things. And when he didn't need money, he would give them away. Very generous person. He once had a fabulous collection of Rudolph Valentino memorabilia. That was one of his passions that got sold and lost along the way. It's a very interesting item there in the Skeezig stuff. Those cylinders. No, up and up, and go to your right. Those tin cylinders are some of the very first radios. It's basically a crystal set, but it was 1928. Radio broadcasting had only begun 2 years before in certain select cities.
Really?
Yeah.
How did they work?
It works like a crystal set. You'd have to, tickle a cat's whisker in there and hook it up to a radiator and a window sash or something. It was the very beginning of radio.
Wow. Did you have that as a kid?
I wasn't that old, kiddo. I'm old, but I wasn't that old. That predated me by all of 10 years. More carvings.
Is he working full time and doing these just in his free
You know, I think he... I have no idea what he was... It wasn't what he was doing to make a living. I think he worked for a long time in an electrical supply place. Well, Charles has a fabulous philosophy of life. He just keeps it simple. He doesn't want a lot of stuff, and he's just a very happy man, very well-grounded. He's one of 13 children. His parents were German immigrants, well, or probably they came from Prussia or Austria.
back here is you almost never get seen.
That's true. Since there was a leak in the ceiling, I had to really rescue a bunch of stuff, and a lot of which got ruined.
For some reason, I think this is my favorite section back here.
Really? Well,
I
you've
don't know why. Just I think that the way it's lit and displayed, and
you have spent a lot of familiar time back here.
passionate collecting displayed back here.
I love that table tennis game. One down.
Oh yeah,
That wonderful box.
the colors back here.
These we've seen.
Yeah, recently.
And you know, all these images whizzing by the camera. It's got to be quite hallucinatory.
Know how else to do it.
They remind me of my father's home movies.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do some heavy editing and some probably reshoot.
Well,
Give you an idea.
not exactly, but he thought the more money he spent on the camera, the better it had to be. So he got a telephoto lens, and it would do about 3 by 2 foot area of whatever he was shooting. So he'd have to scan every building across, like reading a funny paper. So all you saw was these images whizzing by.
This case too. These are all 10.
Mostly,
Yeah, the colors.
I once had 400 tin toys. Believe it or not, I whittled them down to that.
Right, and where the rest go, traded.
I think I might have sold them at the toy shows or something, you know. To get in early, I had to pose as a dealer, and so I would bring stuff with me slowly but surely, and got rid of some of the stuff that I didn't feel I had to have.
I love the graphics on the Royal Circus. Spears Royal Circus.
Yeah, it's wonderful graphics. It's English, but printed in Germany. Eric, we've done that box ad nauseum.
Almost done.
It's amazing to see what you put with what. Your game piece with Popeyes, and it all works.
Well, that's one reason I'm kind of glad to get a record of this, because I don't know what will happen to the collection, but it might be a semi-guide for somebody who acquires it, hopefully, to see some of the possibilities of how to arrange it. Boy, what a pipe dream that is.
It's this piece here with the lights.
That's a Maxfield Parrish designed Mazda lamp tester, lamp display.
So meant from nothing more than displaying lights?
Yeah, it was probably sat in hardware stores. There'd probably be a sample of every kind of bulb, not just colored bulbs like that.
That's pretty cool.
I used to have that in the old loft for atmospherics.
Would it light up?
Oh, of course. Oh, it still will light up.
But will it like blink or just do solid
No, it
light?
just glows, But each light, I think, is on its own switch, so you can see how each one operated. No, in those are good old days, we had lots of colored lights and colored candles and all kinds of visual stimulation. Over our bed, I installed a ballroom mirrored ball and put it on a motor. And it had 4 spotlights with colored gelatins focused on it, so all the dots were different colors. And you put it on for 30 seconds, and you were ready to throw up. As the entire room swirled around you, it was like, that was not a good idea. That was one of the, didn't work out quite as intended. Instant seasickness.
I love these old lamps.
Yeah, beautiful. You're also looking at a whole series of houses that Charles carved as Christmas presents for us.
Down here?
Yeah, each year for a Christmas present. They represent different nationalities.
What's the idea behind that?
Just something to do with the tradition of, the houses that go under a Christmas tree, I gather. Each one different.
Look at this clown top one.
Yeah, those are kind of cool.
These are what?
Animax.
Animax.
Where these fellas?
Did you ever see those?
No.
That's my father and I.
Ah.
Somebody in Detroit discovered the world's greatest artist. The pictures look so real, so real. And to get your portrait done, you had to sit first for a photograph. Well, everyone was in awe of his craftsmanship. What he was doing was taking the photograph and gluing it, laminating it to a piece of wood, and carving the rest of it. So my father bought into 2 of them. My mother didn't like her photograph, so she didn't get hers done. Made in Mexico. I think you've come full cycle. Of course, up there on the top is the weenies display. That was displayed at the Helmsley Palace for the weenies licensing show. Okay, Eric, this has been great fun. I think you might be a little bit dizzy. This really was a whirlwind tour. A little bit like being on a high-speed roller coaster. But exciting, and I loved it. And thanks for doing this, and see you next time.